Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Multi-melta heavy build for Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, the Multi-melta is still one of the strongest weapons in this game. It is able to stagger Majoris very easily, wipe out Minoris hordes, and has great CHP recovery, CHP being contested health if you are unaware, and the variant I've chosen here is the magazine capacity version, mainly because the way the Heavy's ammo economy works, or ammo restoration perks work, is that if you have a weapon that doesn't have a proper magazine like the Multi-melta, you actually get a percentage restore, and that means that auxiliary reload will give you back a percentage of your total weapons ammunition every single extremis kill or extremis execute. So really good here for us, because having this fat magazine capacity means more triggers, and more triggers means you don't run out of ammo, and the other versions do get pretty ammo hungry, so I'm picking this one up for that reason today. Now, for the perk tree here, I pick up increased capacity first for a better total ammunition capacity for the same reasons I previously mentioned, moving here into the perk Elite Restoration. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy restores 10% of your maximum ammo reserve, cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity, cooldown is 30 seconds. So for the same reason as auxiliary reload, this perk is way better on the magazine capacity version because you have a better percentage restore here, so pretty good option. Next perk is Heavy Fire for an increased fire rate and heavy stance, down here into the perk Perpetual Range for a little bit more effective range, and then we pick up the perk Heavy Immunity. While in heavy stance, you do not lose control from heavy hits. This is one of the best perks on every single heavy stance weapon on the heavy class. That goes for Plasma Incinerator, Heavy Bolter, and Pyre Cannon, because without this perk, you will get slapped around by like basic Sword Warrior attacks, and having this means they don't stagger you at all, so better to keep up your fire rate, and one of the best perks on heavy for that reason. Next perk here is Executioner's Fire. After a finisher, fire rate increases by 25% for 5 seconds. This actually enables a pretty fast fire rate even on the magazine capacity version. This really does make up for our lack of fire rate compared to the rate of fire version, so definitely pick this perk up. And the next perk here is Heavy Might for 15% more damage at heavy stance, down here into the perk Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores one armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. A 30-second cooldown on armor restore on the Multi-melta is incredible, because killing 5 enemies with 1 shot with this weapon is really easy to do, especially against Hormigons, so definitely pick this perk up. And the final perks I grab are Heavy Might for even more damage in heavy stance, into the perk here, Death Strike. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This will trigger on a melee finisher as well, and will trigger simultaneously with the perk over here, Executioner's Fire, so really good synergy on that. And the final perk is increased capacity for even better base ammo capacity, and that's pretty much everything there is for the Multi-melta. Now for the secondary weapon, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly so I can have a headshot multiplier option on top of some range, because the Multi-melta does lack range and does no headshot damage at all, so having this does help out with that, on top of the heroic perk effect here, which is called No Help is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Scream status stops it from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in one shot. Being able to one-shot reinforcement calling enemies or immediately stop the reinforcement call like a Chaos Spawn or something is incredibly useful in this game. You actually don't realize how many enemies in Space Marine 2 call for reinforcements until you use this weapon and then swap out of it. A really good perk effect and super underrated. Now for the perk tree here, you do have a couple options, but first of all, I would always go down the bottom tree here in like pretty much every build ever. Going to Death Strike not only gives you way more ammo on top of way more damage, but it's also just way better than the top tree in general, because things like Rapid Health are not that good in a Heavy Bolt Pistol, and also they're just way better on other options like the Inferno Pistol anyways if you want to go into the top tree, and for the most part, ammo plus damage, just way better option here. Now, Great Might is the next perk I take after Death Strike, into the perk here Discipline, and then I go into the perk here Strong Finish, Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, and once again, Tactical Precision, because you know the drill, headshot damage is just way more important than non-headshot damage, especially on a bolter weapon. Now, on the heavy class, you could alternatively skip over the top tree here and go into the bottom tree for able damage. This one says, after using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. This will trigger pretty regularly on an Iron Halo on the heavy class, because Iron Halo's cooldown is really easy to just turn on and off again, so pretty good option there. I wouldn't really take this on classes like Bulwark because Banner doesn't come out that often, but on heavy it is pretty decent, so if you wanted to build it this way, you definitely could. But either way, that is all there is for my secondary selection. Now for the perk tree, we do skip over the perk here multi-kill, because getting 1 ammo back for killing 5 or more enemies with 1 shot on a Multi-melta is just not as good as it sounds initially. Your ammo economy is actually pretty strong on this build already, so I do pick up Restoration instead, which says killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. Armor Restore in Space Marine 2 on a drip feed like this is very powerful. I talk about it all the time. Any amount of armor remaining will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0 even from bosses, so perks like this are very strong for any build. Next perk here is Fortitude. Health increases by 30%. Just like Armor Restores, having an increased HP level in this game is a top tier effect because below 25% HP in Space Marine 2, you will get a ramping damage reduction, and this will just make that effective HP even higher. And on top of that, this class has other damage reduction effects like Conviction down here, or a 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds on Armor Break, which makes you baseline as tanky as a Bulwark class with Conviction. So a really good synergy there, and Heavy is one of the tankiest classes in the entire game. Next perk here is Overwhelming Power. When Iron Halo is active, all team members within 10 meters deal 10% more range damage. Moving here into the perk Encompassing Aegis, all team members take 25% less damage from range attacks. This makes you even tankier and makes your entire team tankier as well. Ranged attacks with chip damage are super damn annoying in this game, and this one is a very noticeable effect. Now, alternatively, you could pick up additional supplies for more ammo if you wanted to, but that is up to you. I don't think Bonds of Brotherhood is very good. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. A 90-second Melt-A-Bomb will save entire encounters on its own. Melt-A-Bombs are incredibly potent in Space Marine 2 in all game modes. Being able to one-shot or damn near one-shot most of the enemies in the game, you will just be able to save your life over and over with this perk. And on top of that, even shock nades, cracks, and frags are pretty good on 90-second cooldown. So definitely grab this one, though alternatively, you could pick up Adamant Will for even more health damage reduction on Iron Halo deactivation. Next perk here is Power Regulator. Iron Halo loses energy 20% more slowly. Now, both Field Adjustment and Power Regulator come out to be about the same time for like total uptime on your Iron Halo, though Field Adjustment is a bit faster, I believe, and I just kind of prefer this one mainly because not losing any of my durability on my Iron Halo just feels better for me. But, you can pick this one up if you want. Next perk here is Brute Force. When Iron Halo is in cooldown, range damage increases by 15%. A 15% damage increase on your Iron Halo in cooldown is incredible, but there's actually a hidden perk effect here where this one will trigger simultaneously with Overwhelming Power because your Iron Halo actually counts as in cooldown while it is in use, which is a pretty funny effect, but you can actually build up to like a 25% range damage buff while Iron Halo is active with these two perks, so great synergy there. Final perk here is Offensive Capability. When active, Iron Halo deals damage over time to all enemies within 5 meters. Because this is just free damage, it will also one-shot Cultists, one-shot Spore Mines, and one-shot Bramble. So a really good utility perk. That's why I pick it up pretty much every time. Now for my Prestige perks here, I do take Auxiliary Reload for the reasons I previously mentioned, which is this is the main ammo economy solver of your build here. Next perk is Conviction for a 25% health damage reduction for 10 seconds because this is also a god tier perk in Space Marine 2, mainly because health damage reduction in this game is very powerful, and like I said before, this one has a great synergy with Fortitude, and the final two perks are Indomitable Spirit. While performing a gun strike, you know it's 12 heavy hits and you can't be knocked back, and your choice of Reverberating Impact, Exponential Force, or Duelist. I do think that these three are the best final options. You really pick between them, and Home Precision kind of sucks in general, but especially sucks on a Multi-melta because who needs a reduced spread on a Melta weapon? And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Hopefully this build guide helped you. The Multi-melta is a pretty popular weapon in this game. At least it was at launch. Maybe it's like fallen off a little bit in popularity, but for the most part, it's still a very powerful option, and hopefully this helps you out with your build setup on this. And if you want to come hang out with me live and ask me questions about the game, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch. The link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Bye. Definitely not at all toxic modifier.
No holding back.
The definitely not at all toxic modifier in this game. Wait, is it confirmed to be a Terminator Sorcerer? Oh yes, it is. It is indeed. It was data mined a while back. We also know what the Iron Hands chapter pack is going to be. It's going to be Brazen Claws, Sons of Medusa, and Iron Lords plus Red Talons. So, Brazen Claws being the Clown Marines. Sons of Medusa obviously being the coolest motherfuckers in the entire pack. Red Talons being the craziest guys in the entire pack. And Iron Lords being Black Templars that like tech a lot. Now tell me, chat, how much do you know about the Iron Lords Iron Hand Successor chapter? Because they're basically Black Templars that fight different aliens. They fought the Barghesi. for quite a while. It's like a lesser known Xeno species.
It is our duty to protect these wonders. Sanctify communities.
Osborne got cooked.
I shall never let a brother fall.
Are Sons of Medusa that cool? Mods, explain to this guy how cool Sons of Medusa. No, I'll do it. Sons of Medusa, they are a successor chapter of the Iron Hands that came about after the Moirai Schism. So basically, there was a gigantic, gargantuan kerfuffle in the Iron Hands order of things where somebody, I forget the exact things that caused the Moirai Schism, but the Adeptus Mechanicus basically had a civil war. And some of the Iron Hands split up. They were all loyal to the Imperium, and some of the Iron Hands split up in the Civil War. They just had like a different way of how things should be run. And those Iron Hands, at the very end, they got exiled. The ones who lost the Moirai Schism to like the main Imperium forces. They got exiled from the Iron Hands, but they slowly picked up more and more of the other successor chapter members that also got exiled. And they came back as a loyalist successor chapter, the Sons of Medusa, and they fought in the Badab War. And they've actually come in pretty clutch. So like, it's one of the cooler things in 40k to me, because you get a successor chapter, like, they were never disloyal to the Imperium at large, they were just disloyal to like the idea of how the Mechanicus should be run. They still love the Emperor, you know. As all true Imperium patriots do. Now, the reason I called the Red Talons the craziest guys before is because the Red Talons were the other successor chapter of the, they were the other successor chapter of the Iron Hands. And instead of exiling their guys, they just killed all the people that were part of the Moirai Schism, so they, you know. There are no Sons of Medusa from the Red Talons, put it that way. Red Talons unfathomably based since the Horus Heresy. They have a pretty cool fit. Definitely better than the Brazen Claws. Brazen Claws straight up look like Clown Marines. Brazen Claws are also notoriously difficult to paint on tabletop for new painters. Black Templar Bulwark Champion would be cool too. We already have a Black Templar Bulwark Champion, and it is indeed as cool as you think it is. It's probably the best one in the whole game, in my opinion. I'm not even that big of a fan of Black Templars. Any chance of Death Spectre drip? I could do that, Viper. We could do a Death Spectre. Inquisitor, why are the Red Talons cooler? The Red Talons are pretty cool. Maybe a little fanatical though. Going to petition Saber to put in Hunger and Steak. Damn. Black Templars overrated. I do think Black Templars are a little overrated, but they are also like the only proper major Crusader faction you can think of. Not the only one, but like they're definitely the most predominant. So on this modifier, we do have point blank, so we have 75% increased damage at close range, which is kind of nuts for our multi-melta. Oh, that's hard to see that one. That was a good stomp, brother. I didn't see the little Astropath perish, but I'm sure it was brilliant. I'm sure it was very stomp heavy. Helldivers 2 versus Space Marine 2. Well, Space Marine 2 has Space Marines, so auto win. Space Marine 2 is also 40k, so another auto win. And Helldivers 2 has, I think, Democracy, which means like an auto L. The Imperium doesn't believe in democracy, guys. Well, I guess some of them do, but they should. They should reconsider. They should reconsider, really. Because, like, the Imperium's... I mean, as we all know, the Imperium is well known for having zero internal strife of any kind. Helldivers 2 is democracy the same way the Imperium has freedom of speech, exactly. And it's like, it has just as much as it needs. Like in that new Armageddon trailer, Yarick used his gun to kill the other guy so he could exercise his freedom of speech to tell his men to not flee. Simple. I love seeing you getting more enmeshed in the 40k universe. You're only steps away from the first tabletop army. I already have a tabletop army. Not new to 40k, brother. I've been into 40k for like 10 years, dude. Mainly Space Marines, but I still have another box of shame for the for Blood Angels. Are you getting Toxic Commando by Saber? Toxic Commando actually looks pretty good. Shocked. What do you play? I play Blood Angels, brother. Blood Angels. I used to play a little bit of Steel Legion, but I haven't played in a while at this time. I mainly play in Tabletop Simulator. I might get back into 10th edition. We'll see. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of tabletop games. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering. I talked about this last stream, but Magic the Gathering is what got me into 40k in like 2011 because I had a lot of friends that played Magic and they were also 40k fans and they were like, oh, you should play this other thing. And I was like, oh, those models are somehow cheaper than these Magic cards are. Okay. And I, on like my 15-year-old salary or something, however old I was back then, was like, yes. Something I can actually afford if I waste all my money.
Keep them off guard. Astropath is hostile. Eliminate.
Cause like, you know, when you're I decided picking Blood Ravens in your chapter. I said Blood Angels, not Blood Ravens. But Blood Angels, because the first Primarch I really found out about was Sanguinius, and it all went from there. I also just like the color red. That's also a very simple explanation. I asked before, you said you didn't play tabletop. I don't play a lot of tabletop now. I have played tabletop before. I'm not super caught up with the recent additions. I was always more into the lore of 40k than I was the actual tabletop. But that's also true for Magic in a lot of cases. But Magic also has a really casual game mode now. Do you have a favorite Chaos Legion, Death Guard, and Night Lords? Oh, hold up. Fueling a 40k army is less than a Magic deck? I mean, depends on the Magic deck, but predominantly, yes. Magic is way more expensive than 40k is. Magic is like disgusting, honestly ridiculously overpriced. People talk about 40k tabletop costing a lot of money. Magic is fucking absurd. Some cards in Magic are like, well, you know, not necessarily cards that everyone fields, but cards that actually have practical use in formats are like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's the big thing. 'Cause, like, there are really insanely expensive models in 40k. Most of them are not actually played as much as you'd expect. In Magic, a thing like Gaia's Cradle is a totally legal and usable card. The only reason more people don't play with it is because it's fucking ridiculously expensive and way too strong. It's really more of like a tabletop thing where it's just like, it's rudely overpowered for a lot of tabletops. Oh, it's Orion and Alon's. Yarg's alive, holy yes. Yeah, let's put it like this, okay? So Magic has really good cards that are still legal in formats like Commander that are like $5,000, and that's very rare. Like, that's only like one card I can think of, like Tabernacle at the Potential Veil. Tabernacle Potential Veil is like a $5,000 card that is still legal in the format and is still incredibly effective. I knew a guy that had a signed one that was eternally kept in a case that he played with, but that's not something you'd usually see. But you could play with it. Magic players using a spell called Scalping too. Yeah, Magic players scalp all the time. It's actually kind of gross. Like, okay, yes, you want to get into CEDH. Yes, MTG is more expensive. You avoid high-powered big tournament play. MTG is cheaper than 40k. Well, I mean, like, who the fuck is playing 40k? But, like, I should say, like, what's the most expensive army, do you think? I mean, Legacy is also more expensive. If you're talking, like, the most generic EDH deck, I mean, you can go pretty high in, like, a lot of really casual EDH decks. I mean, let's say, not even, like, with CEDH, let's say you just want fetch lands. You're spending hundreds of dollars. Or maybe fetch lands are cheaper now. It's really hard to get a Magic, like a proper Magic deck, or like a set of Magic decks for EDH that are not at least in the hundreds. Admech is the most expensive. Admech's definitely up there. Tyranids are also pretty expensive. If you play friendlies, proxies are a nice way around the horrendous singles prices, yes. I mean, Commander is a popular format for a reason because of the singles prices compared to like the other formats where you have to buy four of the cards. They say like, oh, you're playing Legacy? How many Forces of Will can you put in your deck? Oh, 4? How much is a Force of Will again? Oh, like $100 each? Okay. God, that's such a... Get mopped. God damn. Do you know if the Dark Tide update releases tonight sometime? Releases tomorrow, but I guess it depends on your time zone. Is that the 17th? I imagine after this Dark Tide patch, we'll probably get another class again, because way back when they said new class per quarter, and ever since RBDs, they've actually been holding to that. Kind of, because we are about to hit a quarter. And, kind of. Dude, what the fuck happened? It's just purple tentacles, guys. Oh, maybe it was the gargantuan, roided out chaos spawn that killed all my friends. Okay.
Become a beast. Die beast. I say no. The Imperium says no. The Codex. Tactical threat pacified. Fire on the.
But how could that be true when, like...
Caution. All energy surges detected.
Now, all you have to do to actually dodge those is just run like a straight line like this. You don't actually want to dodge, or you can't dodge them.
Our war gear lacks efficacy against that warp shielding.
Of course, he went invincible on me. Super entertaining mechanic.
Pack a little more bite. Looking belt of orange business. Eliminating this warp spawn.
Oh, yes. Immortality. One day we'll find out his secret and achieve immortality ourselves, but I believe that's something to do with a bubble. Z's trickery, I say. Imagine if the Emperor had that bubble when he fought Horus. He's dead. That guy lost his bubble. Can you no longer do the double tap of the multi-melta? No, you can't. That is no longer an option in the game. I don't think having immortality is all it's cracked up to be. Seems pretty cool to me, bro.